In the high school sports world right now, the issue of transgender athletes is becoming a challenge, especially for the female athletes forced to compete against boys who identify as girls. It's also becoming a political issue and a campaign issue. Here is a clip of an ad that ran in Kentucky this fall prior to last week's election for the governor's seat.
All female athletes want is a fair shot in competition, at a scholarship, at a title, at victory. What if that shot was taken away by a competitor who claims they're a girl but was born a boy?
And to tell us more about the transgender sports issue in the political world is Terry Schilling, the executive director of the American Principles Project Foundation, a conservative think tank and political advocacy organization. Terry, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You used the transgender sports issue in the Kentucky governor's race this fall. Why did you decide to highlight that particular issue?
Well, it's one of the issues that we believe that the Democratic Party and progressives across the country have really gone out of their minds on. They've really stepped outside of where the American people are. And so we want to take issues where the Democrats and the left-wing progressives are on their weakest grounds. And we thought that letting boys identify as girls and compete against girls in sports was one of those weakest grounds. And we found that that actually was the case.
All right, we don't have the official results yet from that Kentucky governor's race, but I want to ask you, do you think it made a difference, this issue?
Absolutely. You know, you look at the numbers and you look at Governor Matt Bevin, he took on so many courageous fights. You know, he was down by about 8 to 10 points, depending on which poll you looked at. Prior to us getting engaged, he was consistently ranked one of the most unpopular governors in the country. And he ended up finishing the race within less than 5,000 votes. And with our ads, we contacted well over 375,000 moderate to progressive voters who were persuadable on this issue. So I think it definitely had an impact on the race. And it's just a matter of time before we're able to produce the numbers on how many votes we actually did shift.
What is it about this particular issue that you think is resonating with those independent voters?
I think there's a general sense of unfairness. Look, when we're discussing issues pertaining to the LGBT movement, it tends to be brought up in terms of equality and fairness. And I think that most Americans and most people in general understand that men and boys have an unfair athletic advantage over girls. And so when it comes to whether or not to, let boys identify as girls and compete against them in sports, I think people just know that it's an unfair advantage. And that it shouldn't be allowed.
What do you think about for 2020? Are you expecting to hear from more candidates who want to use this particular issue?
Absolutely. And quite frankly, part of the reason why we brought this up is because we've already seen national leaders such as Donald Trump Jr. and several others bring this up as, something that's very unfair that's going on and something that's quite frankly kind of crazy. We're looking forward to using this issue in really important elections such as Michigan and Georgia, North Carolina. These states are going to be crucial not just to the presidency, but also to keeping the Senate. And the voters there are very normal, they're very fair-minded, and they're going to be voting on issues like this, and we're very excited for 2020 to come.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating political year, that's for sure. Terry Schilling with the American Principles Project Foundation, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.